Welcome and thank you for watching. You're through to a brand new Goodwin Live on Instagram. And today we have four new guests, some exciting guests, and I will run through the guests that we have tonight. Once I run through the guests we have tonight, we'll start inviting them on. So we've got four guests and going from the back end. The last guest we have is cruiserweight contender Mark Little. Mark Little, one of the nicest guys in boxing, and he's going to tell you about how he's going to turn a setback into a comeback. Before Mark, at 7:20, we've got Deon Jumah, the current English cruiserweight champion. Now Deon, as you know, has been one of the most avoided cruiserweights in the country. He beat Waddy Camacho to win his English title in devastating fashion, and then went up north to beat Sam Hyde, Joe Gallagher's charge in the away corner. So Deon's going to be on, and at 7:10 we've got Jamie Speight, the three-time Southern Area champion, fought for some major titles, who's now a road warrior and doing his stuff around the country and earning his money doing that. And he's going to talk to us about what it's like to be a journeyman on the road. But first we have a man is multi-talented in boxing, Mr. Richard Maynard. He's the PR guru. You see him working on the Ultimate Boxer shows. He worked with David Haye. He works with Mick Hennessy. He previously had a long stint working with Frank Warren. So he's got a lot of experience in the boxing industry, and he's a go-to man in media. So I'm hoping he's here now. We can welcome Richard on. So I'm just going to try and track him down. Find Richard on. Here he is. Richard on board. Let's wait for Richard to connect with us, and then we'll be away. Waiting for Richard to connect. While he is connecting, I think it's 9 years he worked with Frank Warren at the office of one of the top promoters in the world. So he's had the experience of doing that, and he's since been out there doing his own thing, working freelancing. So he's had the really good learning curve working at the Frank Warren office to now becoming an independent PR guru. But I don't know if he's having some trouble connecting, Richard, because we're still waiting for him to get on board. He's got to press the connect button unless he's and there's Waddy Camacho joined. Waddy, how you doing? Darren Townley from down in Devon. Good to see Darren on as well. So Darren, who's really overdue a title shot, so hopefully we'll get that for him very shortly. I'll give it another go with Richard. See if we can get him again. Let's wait for Richard to connect with us. Oh, there we are. He's here. Richard, how you doing?
You all right, Steve?
Not bad. What are you doing? You're sitting in the garden chilling
I
out,
know.
are you?
I was just getting the right landscape, make sure the good background. Everyone's got bookshelves or trophy cabinets, so I thought I'd have something different.
Oh dear. So Richard, you're now working. How long is it now you've been working on your own?
Independently now, coming up to 4 years. 4 years in May.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Did you actually go straight from the Frank Warren office to go? Was he the last job at the Frank's office before you went on your own accord?
Yeah. Then obviously then I started with David Haye. We did the David Haye fight against Gajaj, and I think you did the undercard for that show and the show together. So yeah, that was my first one.
Yeah. So before you went to work with Frank, what was you doing before then?
I was at university.
You went from uni to Frank?
Yeah, I was at Cambridge University, and I was doing business, and but it was always my intention to get into boxing. Actually, everything I owe is to Brendan Ingle. I'm sure you're aware of Brendan Ingle. He was the one that got me. I went to Sheffield to do work experience in the gym, and this was back in 93, 94, and I met Naz there, and Ryan Rhodes, Pele Reid, John Thaxton. So yeah, everything was thanks to Brendan that I got into boxing. That was my real university. Cambridge University was a doddle.
And if you could summarise to people what you actually do now in the world of boxing, explain to people. I mean, I know what you do, but for everybody watching,
Yeah.
let them know, what do you do?
Well, basically, I work with. I've had such a great working with Frank Warren with all the great names there: Ricky Hatton, Joe Calzaghe, Amir Khan, Derek Chisora, Tyson Fury for a period, plus all the great fights I've worked on: Hatton's U, Calzaghe Kessler, Calzaghe Lacey, Khan Barrera, Mike Tyson's debut in Europe. So many great shows and events, and working with so many great fighters. But then now I work using those same skills. I still work with Amir. I work with Ultimate Boxer, like you said there. I also work with some brands like Everlast, and I've expanded more into the fitness and leisure industry as well. So I work with UFC gyms, opening their gyms in the UK. So now it's a bit more varied, but boxing is still my core that I work on, and just basically working with fighters. So, for example, Mick Hennessy. I work with his fighters, so like Alex Dilmagani, Isaac Chamberlain, Shakan Pitters, his son Michael. So he's got a little stable of fighters there. So just basically working with them and looking to get them into the media, get them coverage, and build them up. And obviously we work with Channel 5, so all his fighters on terrestrial TV. And yeah, it's great. It's good to be able to work with such a diverse people in the boxing world.
Yeah, I mean, who's been the most enjoyable boxer to work with, and why?
They've all been great actually, and it's not been. I'm just trying to think if there's anyone.
They can't all have been great boxers. Aren't all great to work with.
And well, working with Joe Calzaghe was probably the best, the experience I had, because literally, in my eyes, he was probably one of the best fighters to come out of Britain post-war, and so many great nights and fights with him. But he could be great working up to the fight, but then on fight week, it would be a nightmare because he just wouldn't do anything. He was making weight. He was cutting weight. He was getting focused on the fight, which you could understand. So you'd be lining up lots of good PR opportunities, and he wouldn't do that. He would say, "Well, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it." Eventually, he would after much persuasion.
Oh, really?
But so we had photo shoots, for example, before Sakio Bika, just after he beat Jeff Lacey, he had a first defence against Sakio Bika, a very tough African, and we had Tom Jones lined up to do a photo with him. And the only day I could get him was on the day of the weigh-in. So literally, it was just a very quick photo, just 10-second photo for the back page of The Sun. I had it all lined up, the paper was on hold, so I just needed this one picture. And Joe just wasn't playing ball and didn't want to do it. I said, "Joe, we've got to do it. This is a massive picture. It's you and Tom Jones." And he was adamant, no. And then I thought, "Oh, this is going to drive me mad. I've got to get this picture because I can't have it not going in and someone else getting in." So eventually he relented and we got in. But literally, they've all been great to work with. Ricky Hatton would do anything, absolutely anything and everything.
Did he give much fun then as he is now?
Yeah, he's always cracking, messing around. I always remember I did a photo shoot for a poster we were going to do for a show in June, calling it D-Day, and it was with Joe Calzaghe and Ricky Hatton topping the bill, and we both had to get them dressed up in army gear. Joe was going through his cool period then, where he's like a bit like David Beckham, and wanted to be the cool sportsman. And Ricky was just up for anything. So Ricky put all the gear on, was rolling around the floor with his army gear, getting into it. He goes, "Come on, Joe, put it on." And Joe goes, "I'm not doing it. I'm not putting it on." Crazy.
Different characters, aren't they?
Yeah, but no, it's all fights. You have to understand, at the end of the day, it's a business, and fighters have to train and do work, but there is the other side with PR and media commitments, and it's a fine balance, and you have to just try and judge it.
So when you was working with Frank Warren, was that your sole role there? Just
PR media, yeah.
Just the media. So you do all the PR releases there, and
press releases, setting up press conferences, all publicity for the fighters, getting them onto TV shows, radio shows, magazines, obviously now social media, like you're doing yourself now. Social media is so important now. So it's it was a big role. Yeah,
so I suppose this big drop out of boxing at the moment, it's not great for you, is it?
Well, yeah, listen, it's like boxing. You got to go with the rough and the smooth. It's a crisis for everyone in the industry, in boxing, but in the wider sphere, it's a big crisis for society. So we've got to stick together, get through it. We will get through it, and the belief happier days will come
And when's your view about boxing being back in some form or other?
Well, I'd like to see something by the end of the year. You know, it's hard for the fighters, promoters, obviously, like yourself. It must be, you know, heart-wrenching. You've already got fighters that come on to you. You know, I need to fight. I need to earn. And you've got to. You're in the same boat as everyone. You've just got to just hope that the numbers go down with the deaths and become stable, and the restrictions get lifted. But like you say, it's going to be in stages, and I can't see it being till later in the year. With also how it's going to work with social distancing, how does it work in shows? Do you do it behind closed doors and just test all the fighters, promoters, the managers, fighters, medics, everyone that comes into an arena for a closed show? How do you do that? And plus social distancing as well. So it's I don't think it works. I don't think it works boxing without a crowd. You need that crowd. How can it'd be just like a sparring session, being in the gym watching a sparring session. I think if you've got no crowd in there, you need the crowd for that atmosphere to lift the fighters to when they land a good shot and you get them geared on. The other fighters wants to go up and retaliate or cover up, and I just don't think it works without a crowd. Not like football.
Yeah.
Football has been done. It's been seen. It can be done. But maybe
I do agree. It's going to be very difficult. I think that's the only way the big promoters are going to get shows on, though.
But maybe that is the only way, to get the fights out. It's going to have to be done.
And Sky BT are going to need the content. But listen, Richard, I hope for all of our sakes, hope we get back to normal quickly and everybody's life gets back to normal. And thanks a lot for coming on and joining us. Very
lovely. Thanks for having me. It's been an experience. Normally it's the other way around. Me setting up interviews, not being interviewed. But it's very good.
Thanks a lot, Rich.
Lovely. Thank you.
Take care, mate. Cheers. So that's Richard there, who's going to log off now, and then we're going to move on to the road warrior himself, Jamie Speight. We're going to see where Jamie is and see if we can get hold of him. Oh, the genius himself. He goes by the moniker the genius. I actually do want to ask him why he's called the genius. Now, since you're on, Jamie, how are you, mate? You good?
Steve, how are you, mate?
Who gave you the name the genius? Because that wouldn't be something that I would call you.
You'd have called me the funny man or something, I don't know. The genius, it was actually a photographer from London. And when I first turned pro, he was asking me, he said, have you got an alias? And I said, no. And then he said, well, tell me a little bit about you. And we just talked about me being quite clever at school. I was quite clever at school and that. And it just sort of come up. He went, what about the genius? And I went, and I box, I'm clever in the ring. I box clever. Do you know what I mean? I work people out. And it just sort of clicked. It sounded good. And I went, yeah, that'll do.
No, you're a very intelligent fighter. We've discussed that you're going to make an even better trainer now, in my opinion. So, there's a lot still to offer. So let's talk about what you've achieved, because I've written it down before we come on, and it's quite impressive. I mean, you are a 3-time Southern Area champion, twice at featherweight, once at super featherweight.
Yeah.
You've challenged for the IBO international title. You've challenged twice for the English title, and you've challenged for the WBC international title. People don't realise that. That's a fantastic resume. And now you're out there, and people are probably who don't know you from old are thinking, "Oh, Jamie's just a journeyman." Jamie was a top-line fighter and a champion, but now you're doing a total different role, aren't you? Your role is to do something else. So tell us what you consider your role to be now. You're on the road and earning money and
I don't really go with it. We discussed this before, Steve. Me and you have had plenty of chats about it, and I don't really go too fondly with the word journeyman.
Yeah.
I see myself as an in-ring teacher. And if you speak to any of the lads that I've boxed or that I've helped along as they've come up through, I try and give them an education. I mean, there's no better place to learn than on the job. So whilst I'm teaching you these things, you can put them into action rather than having to remember how it felt at that actual point back in the gym 3 weeks later. Do you know what I mean? It's easier for me to say, look, don't leave with that. Try this, try that. And that's what I do. I try my hardest to develop a fighter on the job and make him learn from his mistakes there and then.
Well, to me, you're one of the top road warriors in the country, aren't you? I mean, you fight at various weights. You educate so many of these prospects, and you really, they don't get it. If they take liberties, they get clobbered, don't they? So
well, to be fair, that's what I always say to people, Steve. I always say, I'm model myself as I'm a nice person, and I believe that it should be built on that. It should be built on respect and being respectful to one another, before, during, and after a fight. There's no need for all the carry on of the business, because at the end of the day, you're going to punch each other's heads in 10 minutes. So don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And I tend to carry myself in a sense of, if I turn up for the weigh-in and the kid's there and he's respectful and he's polite and it's just a normal two men meet and shake his hand, all the best, mate, then I'll help him and I'll teach him all the best I can. If sometimes you get somebody who they're a bit blown up, or they've been blown up by friends or family or entourage on Twitter or Instagram or whatever, and they're aggressive and rude, and you think, you know what, I'm going to give it him. And I've not had, to be fair, I've not had many of them. And generally in boxing, I think you find that you don't meet many bad people, especially fighters-wise. You get the odd one who's a little bit like it, but generally they're good people. And, you know, I've got a lot to thank boxing for.
You've got a lot of friends in the sport as well, haven't you?
Yeah, because I'm a chatterbox, mate. This 10 minutes ain't going to last. I'll be here till 8:30. Yeah.
I mean, you've been friends with the Warringtons after fighting Josh Warrington for the
yeah.
wasn't it?
I boxed Josh on the 27th of March, 22nd of March, 2013, in Leeds Town Hall for the English title. Went 10 rounds and lost on points. But my trainer at the time let me down the night before. So I went up with just an old friend of mine, Jack Green, at the time. And he didn't have a license, so he couldn't fucking do nothing. So I had to get my manager in the corner. And I hadn't seen my manager for 12 weeks. It all went to pot, and I lost on points. I just dug out, really. Yeah, but he was a good kid. And afterwards, his dad asked me about it. He said, you know, what had happened? We was expecting a different version of you. And I explained it. And he said to me, right, well, here's my number. Keep in touch. If you ever need me, I'll come anywhere in the country and do the corner. So me and Sean, Josh's dad, stayed in touch. And then after about a month or so, he said to me, why don't you come up and train with us? That was it. Bags packed. And I spent 2.5 years in Leeds, like on and off, training with Sean or under Sean with Josh. I was sparring with Jamie and Gavin McDonald weekly. Every Saturday we go down to Doncaster and do rounds with them. I sparred with Paul Butler up there. Mixed about in good company. So, yeah, it was good.
And if I said to you, name your best experience in boxing, what's it been?
My best experience in boxing? Cool. I think it has to be, it's got to be for me, boxing at the O2. I was on one before the main event. We boxed Reece Bellotti for the WBC. We were one fight before the main event, so it was absolutely ram-packed. There must have been 12, 15,000 in there. It was busy. And, must have been it. That has to be it. That's the pinnacle for a British sportsman. That's the pinnacle of it, isn't it? You know what I mean? Other than Vegas and stuff like that, boxing there, getting to the O2 and being in a big, meaningful title fight live on Sky Sports, that's got to be the pinnacle. I'm just a young boy from a village who was told that this aggression will get you nowhere, son.
Yeah.
Just done me right.
You're one tough man, aren't you, Joe? And that's the key. And now you're going to be looking, when you do hang your gloves up at some point, although it's not any time too soon, to get your hands into becoming a trainer. That's your next thing, isn't it?
Yeah, my licence would have gone off already, but with what's been going on, as soon as this is done, my licence is going off. I'm going to spend another year or two just earning money and educating people on the road. But already, as soon as this licence comes back, I'm helping people. I've got a couple of kids that are interested already. And my time will now be spent. I'll always be fit anyway. I'll always be in the gym. I'll always be running and keeping fit. But my time will be spent now investing in others and hoping they don't make the wrongs that I've made. My job is to make sure that they get the information that they deserve that I didn't get when I started. Do you know what I mean?
No, brilliant. Yeah, but I mean, you're good at whatever you do. You're a fantastic credit to the sport, and also a really nice person as well. One of the nicest people you could wish to meet. So, thanks for everything, Jamie. Thanks for being a good friend as well.
Mate, appreciate that.
Thanks for coming on tonight.
Take care, mate.
Take care. Speak to you later.
Bye,
mate. That's Jamie Speight, one of the nicest guys you want to meet. Really nice. Always in contact with him. And we're going to now be joined from somebody that's on the road to somebody that's aiming to become a champion. Already is a champion, but aiming to become a British champion. And I'm looking forward to speaking to one of the most avoided men in British boxing, who's going to become British champion. Nothing's going to deny him. And let's see what Deon's up to. Deon Juma. That's who we want to get hold of now. Let's get a hold of Deon. There we go. Send him an invite. One of the most talented boxers in the country who has not yet achieved what he's going to achieve. Deon, how are you?
I'm well, Steve. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm just saying that you're probably the best boxer that's yet to win the titles that he's going to win, and it's been very difficult, hasn't it, since you came back? And tell people about what you've had to. You've done it the hard way. We've had to do it the hard way. But tell everybody about what happened and your story about you. I mean, you boxed under the Sauerland, so give people a resume of yourself.
It's been a road. It's been a long road. Obviously, since I got with you, we've had difficulties navigating. When I turned pro after winning 2 EBA titles, I left the GB squad, and I was signed by Sauerland. I was boxing out of Germany and Denmark for, I don't know, I'd say like a year and a half, almost 2 years. Stop-start career, got really ill, had a condition of the heart. And it's just been really hard to pick up from there, actually. And then I ended up taking 2 years out. And came back thinking all the biggest promotional teams are going to want me. And that's when I met you, remember? And we had that conversation and we had that game plan where we're going to strategically plan how we're going to get ourselves back on top. And that's what we did. And here we are, mandatory for the British title.
So Riakpor's sitting there with the title. He's going to have to defend against you now. Do you think they'll sit it out? Do you think they'll take the chance and fight you, or do you think they'll move him away from you? Because everything so far with Matchroom has been they just want to keep you out of the way, don't they?
Yeah, I think it would be the best thing that he could do. I'm not even talking about for me. I'm talking about for himself. I see Richard as a novice. I see him as oozing with flaws. Now, for him to step up to world level after the injury he picked up in his last fight, I think that would be ludicrous and a silly decision from him and his team. So I think his best shot is to fight me to not just win the title, but to defend the British title. And then if he believes he can do that, then he's as good as he says he is.
I think he's going to be pushed to beat you. I think that's going to be a very difficult thing for him. I think they know it as well. So we'll see how that goes. So I mean, obviously, that's not your aspiration, though. The British title is just part of what you want to achieve, isn't it?
Yeah. From the youngest age, I wanted to be a world champion. It's always been the plan. When I turned amateur, I didn't want to be amateur for long. I always wanted to be a pro. So that's why setting about the European scene for me as a cruiserweight was the best decision. Cruiserweight at the time, the best cruiserweights in the world were from Germany. So that's why I went over there and learned my trade.
Yeah, and where do you genuinely think? How far do you think you can go to now?
Right now,
Where do you think?
I'm a world level fighter,
Right.
So I'm going for nothing less than the world title.
Yeah, once we beat Riakpor, the whole, as I said to you before, the whole situation will be totally different. People that didn't want, or people that everybody will want you. Then it will be a crazy turnaround, because I know I've seen it all before with Frank Willioni when we got to British level. So it's going to be that way. But it is sometimes a thing that when you are that as good as you are, that these other pros sort of try and shield their little assets away from somebody that's that good. If you wasn't that good, they'd embrace you in to get you to think they can get you beat. But you've got to take it as a compliment, because you're no easy touch for them, and that's why we've had to deal with.
Of course, especially if you don't have the popularity or the backing. And say I was to have a matchup with one of the top boys at the time. Obviously, I had 2 years out, and I was going to say I'd get a Coley, for example, and I was to beat him. It's just not going to look good for them, is it? So
No.
Obviously, it makes all the sense to keep me out, but we've done it the hard way.
But popularity isn't you are very popular. I mean, you sell a big number of tickets in London, and I mean, even look at what you did in Manchester. Nobody, people don't realise we didn't get given a ticket for Manchester, and yet you had 70, 80 people up there who took a chance to try and get in, and it was a bit of an experience, but just shows you what support you do have.
We put the work in, Steve. I've also got someone who boxing BOS helps me sell my tickets, and it's not all done on my own, you know. And
no, of course.
As I said, we've worked from the ground up. Whether it was to do with getting popular, getting my name out there, it's just a lot of hard work.
Yeah,
somebody just put up there, get Juma a shot. Deon, just to get across, Deon has got a shot. It's just a case of time now. He's going to get the British title shot. They can't avoid it. It's written in stone. So you are getting that shot. We've just got to wait and see. And I have a feeling your shot might be behind closed doors, but so be it if it is, you know.
So do you think that's going to happen, Steve? If they're behind doors.
I think behind closed doors happens first. Yeah, I do. I think that, you know, I think that when the doctors are able to get released, if the death level comes down, they might be able to at some point release a few doctors, but then they're still going to probably have social distancing, I would imagine. So you'll probably be able to do a show with everybody tested behind closed doors. I'd imagine that's where it will start first. I can't imagine there being 20,000 people in the O2 while this virus is out there. I just can't see it, but who knows? Who knows? But yeah, but the good thing is I just want it to start again, even if it's behind closed doors, so that you get this shot and we can then move on. Do you know? I mean, it's been a long road and it's been a bit of an obstruction, this coming forward, apart from for your career, apart from everything else that's going on. But I have a feeling closed doors will happen well before fan events. Yeah. So
regardless, I think a few people have asked me about that, how I would feel about that. When you're a fighter, you need to be able to adapt. You know, we're going to be ready regardless, behind closed doors, in front of a crowd. Obviously, we'd love it at O2 Arena, or I don't know, one of those next gen shows. That would be amazing. But whatever, we're ready.
Yeah, we got to fight whenever the board call for it, and you know that. So we'll get ready, and then we'll see how it goes. But Deon, as I said to everybody, that I said you're the most. People ask me a question, they go, "Who's the most talented boxer you've ever worked with?" And I always say Deon Juma, without a shadow of a doubt. And I hope and I pray that we get the chance as soon as you win the British title, and then I am convinced you're going to fight for world honours. So let's go there and do it, because I just can't wait. And you deserve, and the other thing is, you deserve every single thing that you achieve, because you've had to do it the hard way. You've never moaned, you've never complained. You've got on with doing the job, and you deserve this. You deserve what's going to happen to you. So it's very much appreciated. It's been a real pleasure working with you. So thanks a lot, Deon. Appreciate that. Thanks for tuning in and coming on board with us, and I appreciate it. Cheers, Deon.
See you soon, no doubt. Bye.
Thanks, my friend. Cheers. Bye. Thanks to Deon. Now that's the English champion at cruiserweight. We're going to go to another cruiserweight who's yet to win his first title. He's a man that was bombing along and then had a bit of a misfortune in his last fight, but it's not deterred him. He's going to come back and he's going to be winning titles. Let's get hold of West Ham's Mark Little. Let's get hold of Mark. Here he is. Here we go. Let's find Mr. Little. Mark, how are you?
How you doing, Steve? You all right?
Yeah, not working tonight.
No, got a night off, mate. Night off today.
Is it? Yeah. So, how's things been for you? Have you been keeping sort of relatively fit, or?
Yeah, relatively as much as I can do, Steve. I mean, I've been working pretty much 7 days a week at the moment, so that's been a little bit difficult. Yeah, but I just try and do a few runs and things like that. Obviously, there's no gyms open, so that's hard to sort of deal with. But yeah, just trying to keep as fit as possible, really. Yeah,
so tell us about, so obviously you were motoring along in your career, on the verge of a Southern Area title shot, and then in your last fight it all went wrong for you, didn't it? Okay, with another 30 seconds you'd have won. So tell us why you think it went wrong, and it doesn't mean anything long term, does it? But tell us how you're feeling now, coming off that loss, because we haven't been able to rectify it, because obviously we've had this hiccup come with us with this virus.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was absolutely gutted to get beat. Obviously, I never ever wanted to get beat. I probably should never have took the fight. My missus had we had our baby just a week before, and I thought I'd be all right with that. I thought I could carry on training, but I was sort of missing training because obviously being in and out of hospital and things like that. And I probably should never have took the fight. But me being me, I was like, no, it'll be fine. We'll get through it. And it just didn't happen on the night. Nothing. I mean, I thought, like you say, I was probably a few seconds away from winning, really. I think I could have stopped him if it carried on, but it's just one of them things. Do you know what I mean? I just have to take it. I've learned massive from it. I mean, before obviously the gym's closed and things like that, I was training so hard, ready for this, like to make a comeback. So it's just one of them things, really. I'll get over it. I just can't wait to get back in the gym and back fighting again.
So once boxing starts again, we don't know when that's going to be, obviously, but allow a 12-month period from when boxing resumes again. Where do you see Mark Little over the 12 months once boxing resumes?
I'll be Southern Area champion, 100%. If you, as long as you can do your thing, I'll do my thing, and I believe I'll be Southern Area champion.
Yeah, I mean, the Southern Area champion at the moment is Ian Martell, who beat Jose Lopez. Is that a fight you fancy?
Yeah. I mean, I was happy with either Jose or Martell. I mean, I was at the fight, so. But yeah, no, I'll be happy with fighting either one. But yeah, Ian, I'm up for that. I'm up for fighting anyone. So I just want to have that title shot now. So if we get that shot and it's Ian who's got it, then that's who we're fighting.
Yeah, it depends on who it is. Was you particularly impressed with him in the fight with Jose Lopez, or did you think Jose disappointed? What you commentated, didn't you, on that fight?
Yeah, I commentated. I thought Jose could have done a lot. What I expected Jose to do a lot more. I thought he would box him a lot more. And I think he got involved a little bit too. Like, it allowed Ian to just work, to work and do exactly what he wanted to do. But yeah, I believe it's a perfect fight for me. I believe because Ian comes forward, I'm definitely going to come forward. So it's good. Whatever happens, we're going up within a fight. So I mean, even speaking with Paul the other day about it, Paul watched the fight the other day on YouTube, and yeah, he was the same. He believes Martell's a more suited fighter for me than Lopez. So that's what we'll go with.
Yeah, so how's life for you in the little household then? You're going out to work, but what's
I mean, I'm lucky I'm still going out to work, so I sort of get out of the way a little bit. But yeah, we've been doing little walks and things like that, taking the kids out sort of every day for walks and just trying to keep them a little bit, burn some of the energy that they've got, which is quite a bit at the moment. So, but yeah, no, we're just trying to keep as positive as you can in the situation that we're in.
And I suppose for you, working, there's not a lot of difference, is there? I suppose apart from not training.
No, exactly. From not training, really. I mean, that's the hardest part, is not having a normality, that's for me normality. I haven't got that at the moment because obviously there's no training. So, yeah, but work's just normal. I bet it's just busy than ever. So we'll just carry on.
For everybody that doesn't know, what do you do work-wise?
I work in a sugar factory. I work in St. Lowell's sugar factory. I'm a supervisor there. So, yeah, pack sugar for keeping the nation sweet.
No, that's good. So, I mean, what would you say has been your best experience in boxing so far? What have you? What has been? Has there been a fight that stood out, or training that stood out? Or?
I think the big thing for me was coming from the unlicensed league, was turning pro. That was the one. Like actually having that debut at the UK. I always wanted to make sure I had the debut at the UK, and I got that. Being with Paul, I mean, Paul Cook for me is the best out there. I mean, he's a brilliant trainer. He doesn't get enough recognition for what he's done in boxing. And yeah, just turning pro with Paul was that was the highlight. But now it's like, we always thought about the Southern area. We're thinking bigger than that, really, but it's take a step at a time and see what we get. No,
it's going to be it's always enjoyable to watch, and I've got to say, you've been a pleasure to, you're a pleasure to manage, and a real, a really nice guy. So I hope you win the Southern area. You deserve that as a bare minimum.
Thank you very much.
It'll be a great story when it happens as well. So I can't wait to see you do it. So, Mark, thanks a lot for joining us.
No worries, mate. Thanks for having me. Thank you very much. Cheers, mate. Thank you. Mate. Cheers. Thank you.
So make sure you come back and tune in on Wednesday. We will announce who's on, but I can tell you at the moment, already Terry Harper, the world champion, and Steffi Ball, the coach, will be on Wednesday. And we've got a couple of more people to add on to Wednesday. So these will be Monday and Wednesday nights. So I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday. And I hope you're enjoying these. And if you've got any guests that you think, any suggestions, pop them on the Goodwin boxing messages. And if you think there's anybody that wants to come on, let's have a look, and we'll have them on. So thanks very much. Just seen Sam Cox has joined, one of the nicest guys. We're going to be having Sam on here very soon. So thanks very much today for watching, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.